Remember how Obi-Wan trained Anakin after the death of Qui-Gon Jinn, but why didn't Mace Windu train Anakin instead of Obi-Wan? Lucky for us, we have an answer. After the death of Qui-Gon Jinn, Mace Windu was one of the main supporters in granting Qui-Gon's dying wish to train Anakin, and he even sided against Yoda on this matter, who sensed grave danger in the boy's training. So if Mace changed his mind and wanted Anakin trained as a Jedi, why not just train Anakin himself, as he was much more experienced than Obi-Wan was at this point. Anakin possessed immense potential in the Force, but Mace believed that him and Anakin would have been a terrible master and student pair. Mace was a user of Vapad, which was the 7th form of lightsaber combat, but Vapad had one major flaw that made Mace very weary of teaching this form to anyone. Vapad not only had the potential to wipe out your enemy, but consume the user in the dark side of the Force entirely. Vapad allowed the user to channel their inner darkness in combat, but at its peak, Mace could use his opponent's own darkness against them, which he did in his duel against Palpatine in Revenge of the Sith. Because of the emotional complications of the form, Mace was very selective about who he would train in the form. Mace did train his apprentice Deepa B'Elava in Vapad, who was the master of Kanan Jarrus. However, Deepa briefly turned to the dark side, and Mace believed that the use of Vapad had a lot to do with that. After this, Mace refused to take another student unless he was certain they could handle the form. Mace could already sense a lot of complicated emotions and attachments in the young Skywalker. Mace believed if he trained Anakin, the boy would turn to the dark side and become a grave threat to the entire Jedi Order, which happened anyway. At his young age, Anakin lacked the discipline and mindset necessary to use Vapad. Even as Anakin grew older and became a Jedi Knight, Mace still refused to teach Anakin or help train Anakin in lightsaber combat in any way, as Mace would never trust Anakin to learn the true essence of Vapad. What made this even worse was the fact that Mace viewed the Jedi Code in a much stricter way than Obi-Wan did, where Obi-Wan formed a brotherly bond with Anakin and became more attached to Anakin than a regular master and apprentice normally would. Mace was far more cold and disciplined. He was a very by-the-books Jedi and lived to follow the Jedi Code to a T. He believed emotions and attachments could cloud a Jedi's judgment. Anakin was ruled by his emotions, making his and Mace's personalities a total mismatch. During the Clone Wars and in Revenge of the Sith, Mace straight up didn't trust Anakin, and Anakin could sense it, to the point where a lot of the distrust Anakin thought the Jedi had for him came from Mace himself. In many ways, Mace was actually right about not wanting to take Anakin on as his Padawan. He sensed fear, anger, and attachment growing inside the young boy the second he met him. He understood how dangerous Anakin could really be. Even if Mace wanted to train Anakin, he was one of the Jedi who sided against bringing Anakin into the Order in the first place, which might set up an awkward dynamic. Mace left Anakin's training up to Obi-Wan. He thought Obi-Wan was the better overall choice to train Anakin even if he lacked the experience of a Jedi Master. While Mace and Yoda's fears about Anakin turned out to be right, but maybe if the Jedi Order embraced the Chosen One instead of being so blinded by their own code and ego, things would have turned out different. But let me know your thoughts. Do you think Mace would have been a good master for Anakin? But speaking of Anakin, I made a video about why Yoda refused to train Anakin himself if you want to check that one out. It should be on your screen now. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.